Hi guys, this is Yash here. Good morning, Gokul. So
Good
Gokul is
morning,
our
Yash.
yeah, hi. So I'll request everyone to keep their mic in mute so that there is no noise. We'll be recording this session, and I'll request you all to be patient. So we already got all the queries from you, and we have created, compiled those queries. So we'll be answering all those questions and one by one. And once we finish those questions, we'll be proceeding towards an open-ended question so that you can ask questions to Gokul directly. So hi Gokul, good morning.
Good morning, Yash.
Hi.
Thank you so
So
much for doing this initiative. Really appreciate the passion and perspective of Bitgenie Labs and all the effort that you're doing.
yeah, thank you so much, Gokul. So I before that, so I wanted to introduce Gokul. So Gokul is associate director of PwC, and he also runs an NGO known as Epic Knowledge Society. He's the chief knowledge officer over there. And Gokul has, if you see his LinkedIn profile, you'll be able to see, he has a lot of experience, and he has been working with a lot of technologies like blockchain and cyber security, AI, analytics, big data, cloud, IoT, quantum computing, and he has been advisor to many startups as well as various organizations. And he has led $1 million customer engagement on digital transformation, digital innovation, application modernization, knowledge management, product development, product management, service incubation, product engineering, and various other things. So I think Gokul will be will keep this session as a very casual session, and I want you to be very open ended, and we can ask, and others can also talk in between if they have any query. So that
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
so guys, I'll request you all to follow Gokul on various social network platforms like LinkedIn, even on Facebook. He runs a lot of groups of Epic Knowledge Society for different technologies, and he regularly publishes data on those groups. So if you want to get yourself acquainted with new technologies and what is happening in the industry, you should follow Gokul. Yeah. Gokul, you
Thank
can
you.
later
Yes,
on share your social
yes,
media handles. We'll email everyone so that they can follow you. Okay.
definitely. Thank you for the kind introduction, Yash.
Thank you so much, Gokul. And we have so I'm the host. I'm Yash here. So I'm the co-founder of Bitgenie, and I'll be your host today. So Gokul, let's start with the question.
Yeah, looking forward.
Yeah. So we got this question from Saurabh Raj. So in the context of India, which are some key areas or challenges where blockchain technology would be a great fit?
Yeah, thank you, Saurav, for asking this question. It's a very pertinent question when we look at blockchain technology, right? India being one of the largest nations in this world and one of the largest economies, we should always think about how blockchain could be applied for India. Even yesterday, we had an event with Tezos Foundation, and we were thinking about a real transformation in India through blockchain technology. What we have various aspects. For example, looking at economy, bringing together the supply chain in agriculture sector, in the manufacturing sector, and in the uh, so these areas, supply chain transformation is a very relevant area where blockchain technology should be applied. And I can say that there are efforts from both public sector and private sector in bringing blockchain technology in the area of supply chain, be it agriculture or be it manufacturing. In last year, Niti Aayog has done a pilot on fertilizer supply chain and agriculture supply chain using blockchain technology. And they have piloted in couple of fertilizer, uh, state-wide fertilizers that has to be scaled up, because unless you scale it up across the nation, you will not get the intended benefit. Another area where blockchain technology for an Indian context would be very relevant is education sector, because we have lot of universities in India. I would say we have more than 1,000 universities in India, both autonomous and private, and including the government-funded universities. So the quality of education, quality of the students who are passing out of the school, these colleges and universities, is something that has to be verified. So verified credentials in the education sector is another area where blockchain has immense applications. So institutions like uh, universities grant commission are
Because I think he was
uh,
getting some accreditations with some Australian institution.
hello, is it a question, Yash? Can I continue?
Yeah, Gokul, please continue. We'll take the open-ended question in the end. Yeah. So I
Okay,
think we'll
okay,
answer
sure,
all the queries. And guys, everyone, please keep it on mute so that there's no interruption. Once we are done with all the questions, we'll keep it open-ended. Then you can ask questions directly to Gokul.
sure.
And this we are
So
recording this lecture, so please don't keep any interruption and keep your mic on mute, please. Thank you. Yeah, Gokul,
thank
please
you,
go ahead.
Yash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. So we were talking about the education sector. So the use case in education sector would be certificate management, student credential management, student academic performance verification, and so these are areas where National Skill Commission and various government and non-governmental organizations can participate. There are there are a lot of efforts in this direction already, and but I would say nationwide, in the recent national education bill, there has been mentioning of using blockchain technology for certificate management. Even uh, uh, Niti Aayog or NIC or MITI, they are all aware of the need for blockchain technology in certificate management. Another area where blockchain would be very useful in Indian context is uh, the transportation and logistics industry, specifically spare parts management, uh, because a we have a very large uh, supply chain and logistics industry supporting manufacturing. So in this industry, again, we can see need for blockchain technology. When electrical vehicle technology becomes more widespread in India, we will need a national grid or a national supply chain for it. Another area where blockchain technology would be very useful uh, is definitely for the power sector, energy and utility sector. In the energy and utility sector, what we would need is uh, seamless distribution of energy, right? There is, if you look at our energy and utility sector, currently it is quite fragmented. It's quite fragmented, and there is lot of challenges in power distribution and power in the distribution and consumption area. Our power generation is through grids. It is highly centralized, but at the same time, we need microgrids, right? Power generation from microgrids. When renewable energy becomes more popular in India, we will need a network through which energy can be shared among different consumers, different kind of consumers. So power sector is another area where blockchain technology has immense applications. Small and medium industry is another area where we can expect a lot of traction for blockchain technology, because after the if you see the after demonetization, right, we have seen lot of challenges for the MSMEs in terms of competing with the large scale players. if you think in the near future, we'll have a lot of penetration from foreign and multinational players in the scale retailers, kirana stores. If they want to compete with the large scale behemoths, large scale foreign players, they need to come together. So if they want to come together, blockchain technology can help them to form consortiums. And another area where we could see a lot of traction for blockchain technology is telecommunications sector. Even last year, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI, has conducted a pilot on using blockchain for unsolicited call communication tracking. Like we get a lot of spam calls, right? How to prevent the spam calls? You need to bring together all telecom service providers and form a registry. You have to do a common DND, do not disturb registry. So this is an
Uh,
area where, yes, Yash.
yeah, Gokul, sorry to interrupt you, but I think we have a lot of questions, so I'll request you to keep the questions like
Okay,
shorter. Like the answers shorter. Yeah. So we are like
sure,
running out
sure.
of your time. Yeah. So please,
I understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
please
No,
continue.
just,
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. To summarize, the final area where we can use blockchain is for governance, elections, and voting. So governance, we have so many elections in India. All of them are offline. They are not digital. When you want to digitize elections, you need a tamper-proof mechanism. So blockchain is a mechanism for digitizing your enterprise voting systems, corporate voting, voting that happens in the non-banking financial sector, in the corporate sector, in the NGO sector, in micro level local self-government, blockchain could be used. So to summarize, supply chain, education, logistics, telecommunications, these are the areas where I feel there would be blockchain adoption across India. Being the largest economy, we have a lot of potential. That's how I summarize this answer, Yash. We can move to the next question.
Thank you so much, Gokul. We'll move to the next question. I think Saurabh, we have answered your question. I think Gokul has answered your question very well. Thank you. Yeah. So the next question is, how can I become a blockchain
Okay,
developer? So yeah, this question is by Aldos Varghese. Yeah.
yeah. Yash, thank you, Eldos, for this question. This is a very relevant question for all the participants. When you want to become a blockchain developer, what you have to understand is this is a distillation of 30, 40 years of revolutions and innovations in the field of computer science and information technology. So this is something where you will need a very patient and a good perseverance. You need to understand, you need to have a holistic approach. There is no shortcut to become a blockchain developer. You have to understand the end-to-end stack of blockchain. A blockchain consists of, or a blockchain technology consists of networking, computer networking protocols, and computer communication protocol, storage technology, database technology, file system technology, encryption technology, cryptography technology, and uh, inter-process communication, and also involves client-server technology and web applications. So you will have to have a full stack developer mindset to become a blockchain developer. You cannot focus on one stack and say that you become a blockchain developer. For example, if you build a web application interface or web application client, you cannot become a blockchain developer just by doing a client. For example, if you're currently an Angular or React application developer, web application developer, you will have to spend some time learning how the clients interact with the blockchain through various interfaces. So the starting point is to refresh your basics on protocols, like how TCP/IP works, how remote procedure calls work. That is the first step. You have to understand the basic protocol layer, because blockchain is essentially a protocol technology, a thin client and fat protocol. The second important thing for you to learn is how to use uh, how to use code in a database. So you will learn how to write smart contracts. Okay, so smart contract is nothing but a piece of code that you deploy to a blockchain. So it's like a kind of persistent query on a database. It's not exactly correct, but you can use this analogy. So you should learn, it will be good to learn functional programming or object-oriented programming to write smart contracts. So that is the second layer, how to write smart contract. First layer is understanding the basic how the protocols work. Second, understand how to write queries on object-oriented and functional programming code, which could be deployed on a blockchain database. The third layer is how to write clients in Angular or React or any other web application framework. So I can tell you one example how you can become Ethereum developer. The starting point for understand Ethereum is how do you first you should learn how to set up an Ethereum node. You should what you normally do is you set up a particular client called get. This through this client setup you will understand how a blockchain works. Then what you do is you can set up smaller versions of get, like test RPC, or there are some other different clients. So you can set up test RPC or something like Ganache and see how to simulate a blockchain in a private environment. Then what you do is you can write, you can start learning how to write a smart contract in a unique language known as Solidity. Solidity is the language which is used to write smart contracts in an easy manner and deploy to Ethereum blockchain. So you have to learn how to write smart contract in Ethereum, Solidity. Thereafter, you have to learn how to compile the smart contract and how to generate the binary interfaces. After learning this, now you need to use these binaries in your web application. So if you are a good Angular or React developer, or you are a web application developer, you will know how to embed the smart contract and the binaries through something known as your web application with your smart contract. So this is an example of learning how to use blockchain technology. In the example of Ethereum, you should have a firm understanding of how a blockchain node works. To understand how a node works, you should know the fundamentals of internet protocols like TCP/IP, UDP, RPC. You should know all this. Then only you can understand and appreciate how a blockchain node works. Then you should understand how a smart contract works. How do you write a contract? And how do you compile a contract? How do you generate binaries? Thereafter, you link the binary of the smart contract with your web application, right? So let us take Hyperledger. Hyperledger is another private or enterprise blockchain from Linux Foundation. It is following a different structure. So when you're learning to use Hyperledger, you will need to be familiar with Docker, because Hyperledger is primarily deployed as Docker-based containerized services. So a familiarity with Docker will definitely help you when you are going to work on Hyperledger. So If you know Docker, you will set up Hyperledger Docker-based infrastructure, and then you will see how the Hyperledger's individual services are running. Like you have tiers, orderer, endorser, and so you will so that is so you will have multiple type of node in the case of Hyperledger. So you have to understand about multiple type of nodes. In the case of Ethereum, in the normal scenario, all the nodes are similar, but in Hyperledger, the nodes are different. So you should understand how different type of nodes exist in a Hyperledger fabric. Let's take the case of fabric. Hyperledger has different protocols like Fabric, Sawtooth, Indy, Versa, Aries, likewise. Fabric should be a good starting point. So after setting up the Hyperledger infrastructure in Docker, now you need to write your client to communicate with the blockchain. So you can write your client using the SDK. The SDK is available in JavaScript and in Go and Python and Java. So if you're a JavaScript developer, you can use Node.js based SDK to interact with a Hyperledger fabric. So you write your client and you write your chain code. Chain code is the equivalent of Solidity smart contract. There are set of predefined functions that you have to use in a chain code, like initiating a chain code and invoking a chain code. So there is a set of interfaces and functions that you have to use in a chain code. So you have to learn how to write them in your language of preference, be it Python, Go, or JavaScript or Java. And then you learn how to deploy the chain code into Hyperledger Fabric services. And then after that, you test your connection, and there are a lot of finer details like how to configure the orderer, how to configure the endorser, how to configure the consensus algorithm. In the case of Hyperledger Fabric, you can use Solo or Raft or Kafka consensus. In the case of Ethereum, you can use proof of work, proof of authority, or proof of stake. So I don't have time to detail all the blockchains. There is, you also can look at R3 Coda. R3 Coda is a blockchain where you write your contract primarily in Kotlin, and the entire Corda is essentially built in Java. Okay, so R3 Coda is very concept-wise, it is quite somewhat similar to Hyperledger Fabric because it's an enterprise private network, but the concepts of the consensus is different, the node architecture is different, the database used is different. So that's the difference about R3 Coda. But to summarize, to become a blockchain developer, you should have a firm, very good fundamentals of internet protocols, TCP/IP, UDP, and RPC. You should know the fundamentals of databases, relational databases, and then also your fundamentals of object-oriented programming should be very good. And you should have good understanding of how digital signatures work, how cryptography works, public key and private key cryptography works. And then you should also know how to connect to databases from a client. So these fundamentals will help you to become a blockchain developer. Based on my experience, I would recommend starting with Ethereum because Ethereum is completely lightweight, and it is architecture is very simple compared to Hyperledger. So if you are familiar with Ethereum, then you can move to Hyperledger and Corda, and then also you can explore other blockchains like Polkadot, or you can also explore IOTA, Hashgraph, Tezos. But starting point would be Ethereum, in my opinion, because the tools are quite popular. Lot of study materials are available. Lot of good videos are available. If you go to YouTube, you can see very good materials for learning Ethereum. After learning Ethereum and getting a good hands-on on Ethereum, you can move to Hyperledger Fabric and Corda and IOTA, Hashgraph, Tezos, uh, Algorand, all of them. This is my suggestion. If you have more questions on becoming a blockchain developer, you can always reach out to me, and I can also take open-ended
Yeah,
questions after the end of this question.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Yash. I can
Thank you,
hope
Gokul,
I
for
answered the
answering this
question.
question, and thank you, Aldos, for asking this question. I will go to the next question, and I think this question, we can discuss about this for a complete 1 hour. What are the ways and what are the techniques, and you have answered it very beautifully.
Exactly.
Thanks you. And
Exactly.
after that,
Thank
maybe
you.
we can keep a small blog post or something where people can see what are the resources
Absolutely.
available. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So the next question
Definitely.
is,
Let's
yeah,
do it.
how can I start working on a blockchain technology, or what are the steps should I take to pursue my career in this field? This question is asked by Shobit Srivastava. So I think this is somewhat similar to the previous question. So I think you can talk about careers
Right.
in this question, Gokul. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, thank you, Yash. Thank you, Shobit, for this very relevant question for any blockchain aspirant. Right. So, as I mentioned, when you start working on blockchain technology, it is always good to start with playing around with protocols like Ethereum and Algorand, Tezos, and be very familiar with the permissionless open blockchain technology, enterprise blockchains like Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, Indy, and Corda. Because you have more material available in the public space. And when you look at the career in blockchain technology, right, the career options in blockchain are very diverse. Even a fresher can get into a blockchain career as in a blockchain startup or in a mainstream company, or a seasoned architect and a seasoned project manager and a business analyst can also get into blockchain because if you see, blockchain technology has opened up the world of internet completely, right? So it is a new paradigm. It's a new middleware for the world of technology, right? It's going to revolutionize how do you store data, how do you transact data, and how do you share data. So it's going to have a change in databases. It's going to disrupt the world of databases. It's going to disrupt the world of it's going to disrupt the world of protocols, gateways. So as I said, um, if you are a machine learning developer, even machine learning developers are learning blockchain to use blockchain to verify their machine learning algorithm. IoT developers can use blockchain to secure their sensor data sets. And if you are a cybersecurity developer, you can cybersecurity analyst, you can get into blockchain audit. So there are numerous opportunities based on where you stand right now. If you are a student, you can learn how writing smart contracts and decentralized applications and get into a blockchain industry as a junior developer. If you are an architect, if you are currently working as an architect in a software or or a technology company, you can start learning about blockchain solution architectures. How do you build blockchain for different use cases like land registry or supply chain or manufacturing, energy, different use cases. So you need more use case oriented solutioning approach to get into blockchain industry as an architect. And you should get a good understanding about how different protocols work. Because when you're facing a client, you will have to face the question, take decision on which protocol to work on. So solutioning a good firm knowledge on blockchain protocols, platforms, products, and best practices is important for an architect. If you're a project manager and you want to get into blockchain projects, you should have a good understanding about how blockchain is currently used across industry and which are the good use cases and what are the For example, how do you implement blockchain in a waterfall methodology? How do you implement in agile and lean methodology? So, and also you should know how to do quality blockchain projects, and you should know about different skill sets required for blockchain team, because blockchain team is very diverse. You need, sometimes you need a cryptographer, UI UX engineer, UI UX architect, and a good blockchain security auditor, a blockchain cloud architect. So it's a very diverse team. Okay. So being a project manager, you should know diverse skill sets required to build a successful blockchain platform or a protocol. And if you are a business analyst, you can get into blockchain career by learning about blockchain case studies, how to understand the customer needs, different kind of use case, blockchain with your different test-driven methodology or feature-driven methodology or design thinking, blockchain plus design thinking. This will help a business analyst to get to blockchain. And if you are a director or an executive in a company, you can get into blockchain. You can create a blockchain center of excellence for your company, understanding about different skill sets, and you should have a proper outcome-driven approach, a goal-driven approach to set up a blockchain center of excellence for your company. So blockchain career is very diverse. There are multinational companies like IBM or JP Morgan, or companies like PwC, Deloitte, EY. All of them are working on blockchain. There are a lot of startups working on blockchain. There are a lot of
Correct.
mid-sized companies working on blockchain. So the opportunities are innumerous. It is based
Correct.
on your taste and your current level of knowledge. Thank you. That's my
Yeah.
answer, Shobit.
Yeah. Thank you, Gokul. So there are more than 10 plus job profiles. So actually we, studied the LinkedIn and what kind of job profiles are available in the market. So there are more than 10 plus different types of job profiles available in blockchain domain. So we'll discuss that as well later on. I think, but Gokul, you have answered really well this question, and we'll move ahead to the next question. So yeah. So this question is by Prasad. So he has asked two questions. So first, seeing the complexity of blockchain, can it be used in all the small scale industries? Second, seeing the complexity of blockchain, will it really give good results, or it will be garbage in, garbage out like other complex e-platforms?
Yeah, it's a very critical and very rational question. Really appreciate Prasad for coming up with this question. So, blockchain technology, if you ask me, is it really complex? I would say blockchain technology is a complex technology, but it's not complicated. It's not complicated like the enterprise products that you buy. Like if you look at the ERP platforms from proprietary vendors, or the machine learning frameworks, or the different cloud platforms, right? It is way less complicated, but it is indeed complex. Why is it complex? Because it is emerging with a lot of emergent properties. So complexity of blockchain is because of its emergence at this stage. It is a convergence of a lot of technologies, but all of them are open source. That's the positive side. Blockchain technology is built using everything top down, from the protocol till the compiler of a blockchain, is built on open source stack. So that should not be a deterrent for using it for any industry. But now let's come into a small scale industry, right? The blockchain technology, from this question, what I understand is the Prasad is worried about the slowness of blockchain and and the less transaction, its transaction processing throughput and the bandwidth, right? It is lesser than any database. So blockchain is not a replacement for a database. Blockchain is required when there is a trust issue, trust deficit between multiple connections. Then, without a middleman or an intermediary, blockchain helps you to bring everyone together. And that's precisely the need for small scale industries. Small scale industries cannot afford a middleman. And many small scale industries, if you look at agriculture sector, right, it is plagued by the middlemen. Farmers don't get what they deserve because of the intermediaries. Kirana stores are paying a huge sum to buy products from wholesalers, right? So small scale industries are all struggling because of the intermediaries, and they need a system where they can replace intermediaries. And precisely this is what blockchain technology is. When you have blockchain powered by cryptography and distributed computing, you don't need a human intermediary. The human intermediary who will extract service charges, who will extract intermediary charges from you. You can eliminate them. Virtually, you can completely eliminate them. This is where blockchain technology could be a cost effective replacement for human intermediary in small scale industries, be it cottage industry or be it farming, be it kirana stores, be it any other industry that you say. Blockchain could be a replacement for this intermediary. How now the question is, how can you avoid the complexity of blockchain? What you can do is you have to design your blockchain with your specific need in mind. For example, in large infrastructure like Hyperledger Fabric, you can't afford because Hyperledger Fabric, you will need high capacity node to function as the leader of the protocol, like maybe 32 GB RAM or 64 GB RAM infrastructure would be required. You don't need it. You can do a lightweight blockchain, like you can use Algorand, or you can use IOTA, or you can use Ethereum Light Node. You can do so many things to make sure that you don't need a very high intensity infrastructure. But if you are looking at industries like aerospace and defense or supply chain and logistics, you may need high capacity node. There you can use something like Hyperledger Fabric if required. If you need a private setup, if you need a public blockchain, you can go for lightweight blockchains, and then it's not complex at all, right? This technology it has a very small learning curve. But if you want to get into the finer nuances of cryptography, you will need some time. But to set up a blockchain, initially you don't need to learn all the finer nuances. So
Gokul,
that's my first. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Gokul, so I think from Prasad's perspective, what he wanted to ask is, for a layman, the blockchain is a really complex concept. Like AI, when I say AI, artificial intelligence, anyone can understand what AI is, right? But when I say blockchain, nobody has a clue, and for a layman to explain a blockchain concept to a layman is a really difficult task. So I think that's what Prasad wanted to ask. Yeah, but I think we are also running out of time, so yeah.
Yeah, sure. I understand. So, to summarize, my point of view is, if you want to explain blockchain to a layman, you can explain it as a digital distributed ledger, and if you can explain the concept of a digital ledger, then I'm sure any layman will understand it. So that should be the narrative. You don't need to use the concept of cryptography or advanced technology to explain to a layman. A concept of a digital ledger would be sufficient. To answer the next question, it's a very important point. If you are putting a garbage data in a blockchain, your effort in a blockchain will increase. You will need to have more verifiers of data. You will need more validators. You need more powerful smart contracts to check the authenticity of data, check the credentials of the people who are participating in consensus. So if you have garbage in, it's not always garbage out. It's not a dump machine like the normal protocols. It's not dumb. You have lot of measures to make sure even if you put a garbage, if you have good consensus algorithm, good smart contracts, good verification mechanisms, you can eliminate garbage. But your effort will increase, and that's redundant effort. If you want to avoid those effort, you have to have a checkpoint before putting data into blockchain. And it's not about the complexity of blockchain. It's actually about garbage. If you have garbage data, you can't blame it on blockchain, right? But even if you have garbage data, blockchain can be engineered in such a way that garbage doesn't come out as it is. You can eliminate quite a lot of garbage using the different layers of blockchain technology. That's my answer to this question, Yash.
Thank you, Gokul, and thanks, Prasad, for asking this question. Thanks. So I think we'll move to the next question. So this question was quite interesting because anyway, for a technology to go for a mass adoption, it should be accepted by everyone, and the small scale industries are the one who will the medium and small scale industries are the one who will promote the mass adoption. So I think this was a really good
Absolutely.
question, and we'll move to the next question. So this is quite big question. uh, so I'll just read it once. This is asked by Praful. uh, so, sir, if every government bank, MNC, or large service provider coming up with their own enterprise blockchain with own utility token, real motive of decentralization via public blockchain, main motive of Satoshi will be defeated. So, this is one question, part of that question. And again, this technology will be hijacked by government and major corporates across various regions. So what is difference of endless fiat money printing by government across globe and having own uh, government cryptocurrency with unlimited supply? How exactly blockchain can liberate common population from banking cartel? So I think this is one of the most interesting questions of this session. And yeah, Gokul, it's up to you how you answer it. And I'll request you to keep it short as we are running out of time. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prof.
yeah.
Yeah. Please, Gokul, go ahead.
Yeah. So let me. Okay, I'm trying to see the question fully. Okay, yeah. So see, it's a very interesting question. Uh, but when we look at the history of computing, right? PC internet is created. Uh, like internet was created in the early 1970s and 80s, and then did and every company created its own uh, created their own private networks, local area networks, wide area networks, different private networks, right? But has it defeated internet? Has it killed internet? No, it has not created. It has not killed the internet. So likewise, if you see, uh, Bitcoin protocol started in 2010, right? It's almost 10 years, or we can say it's more than 10 years now. Bitcoin is still growing, and now we are going to see phones with Bitcoin, right? So, like the phone HTC Exodus phone would be coming up soon. So when it comes, Bitcoin mining would become more popular. So at the same time, if you see, enterprises like IBM started the TradeLens blockchain. IBM and Maersk started TradeLens. HSBC started Marco Polo, and there is another VTrade, different enterprise quorum, all these all of them came up, right? So Ripple is another proprietary blockchain. So closed blockchains cannot kill the open blockchains. That's for sure, because the history of internet says so, right? Even if every company created their own enterprise networks, lot of enterprise networks are created worldwide, it has not killed the internet, because see, decentralization is very much a fundamental property of technology. Technology cannot grow in a centralized manner. Centralization will kill innovation. Centralization will stifle innovation. And hence, where there is a tendency for decentralization, technology will grow there. That's where uh, Wikipedia has grown, right? Wikipedia has grown with minimal corporate support. Mozilla has grown as a foundation with minimal support. So decentralization is at the heart of technology, and nobody, no bank, no government, no corporate can control blockchain technology with their enterprise implementations. What they can do is they can create their own small replicas, their own small prototypes for their own private purposes, private need, and eventually all of them will get absorbed or get integrated with the largest microcosm of internet. That's what happens, right? Every private implementation of internet is integrated with the main internet, which is like a spider web, which is growing quite inorganically. That the same pattern will follow for internet as well. But what will happen is, when smaller networks will get into a larger network, the properties of smaller systems will also get into the main system. So that's because that's the way decentralization works. It's called emergent properties, emergent design. Okay. So the real vision, real dream of Satoshi will never be defeated. That's for sure. Now, coming into what governments are doing, for example, central bank backed currencies, CBDCs, right? This digital currencies from central banks, or government backed currencies with unlimited supply. This is actually a defense mechanism or reactive measure from governments. They want to uh, channelize this the cryptocurrencies for their benefit. So every government understands that cryptocurrency has created a new money culture. Now people understand, now people realize why money should be open, why money should be open source. It cannot be proprietary. Money cannot be a proprietary protocol. Now people world over understand it should be an open source protocol. We should be, money should be programmable. Money should be decentralized. So because of this, every government is forced to create their own channel by which they believe that money, they could channelize the new awareness of people into their mechanisms. But this will only be like, every, this will only be like the government trying to create their version of God. Or if you say, if you say, if the world over people believe in a new God, be it like Buddha or Krishna or Jesus or somebody else, right? Allah or anybody else, right? Any God. So now you know that there is a new God, a very powerful almighty God. Now to divert attention of people, we will create our own gods, and then people will worship only that particular smaller god. That will never happen, right? You can only uh, channelize innovation only to a limited extent. See, if you look at the world, people all around the world are using central bank currencies because of the way nation states are built. But technology is not controlled or curtailed or restricted by nation state. Internet cannot be controlled by any nation, how much of powerful it is. So central bank backed currencies could only be used for for limited purposes. For example, maybe national level control of inflation, national level control of government backed bonds, but the mainstream people's transactions, you cannot channelize through central bank currencies, because what you're going to see is people are embracing technology, and technology is growing by leaps and bounds, right? See, did any government support the growth of Facebook? Did any government support the growth of Paytm? Did any government support the growth of Google? No, all of them grown. Even Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, everything, every technology, forms of technology has grown into people without the support of any government. So likewise, all these cryptocurrencies, genuine cryptocurrencies will grow with people without the support of government. More people, more data, cryptocurrencies will grow. So central bank currencies will have some limited purpose, but that will be limited in comparison with the power of open source currencies. So this is my perspective on this. So blockchain will eventually liberate common population from banking cartel, because the banking systems already are highly fragmented, highly isolated, highly, vicious, highly poisonous, right? So people have already realized it. World over, the even the birth of digital banks or open finance, if you look at even in all the advanced economies, open finance is growing, decentralized finance is growing. With the growth of decentralized finance, the control of banks will come very, very less, and gradually these banks will become very lean, and the open finance will become very fat. People will embrace open finance, and these banks will become like the dinosaurs of the older era. There they will have limited purpose. Likewise, government backed cryptocurrencies or central bank backed digital currencies will have limited purpose. They will all become leaner and leaner and leaner, and eventually they will become defunct. But it is definitely going to take time, and it is not because of anything. It is because of the sheer power of technology. Technology is inherently decentralized. Technology is inherently evolving, emerging, and hence nobody can control it. This is my point of view, Yash.
Okay.
And thank you,
Thank you.
Prafulla. It's a
Yeah.
brilliant question.
Brilliant question and brilliant answer. I didn't want it to stop you. We can go on. This was a really amazing question, and
Exactly.
you answer really well. So a lot
Thank
of
you.
learnings from this answer, and the way technology, as you told, we cannot stop the technology and cannot stop people. We have seen the
Yeah.
history, and people know what is the right thing to do. So I think that will follow eventually. And anyway, because cryptocurrencies are the
Exactly,
internet
Yash.
of money. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to add one more point. See, if you see the history of dollar, right? Dollar has captured the world through lot of bloodbath, lot of war, lot of destroying lot of nations, creating famines, creating lot of problems. But see how Bitcoin has captured people, how Bitcoin has grown without shedding a single blood. It has grown to such a power. That's the power of technology. Technology can stop wars. Right? The cryptography, right? Cryptography has stopped the World War II. Alan
Correct.
Turing, when he worked on breaking Enigma, he literally stopped the World War. And
Correct.
that's what Bitcoin will do. Bitcoin, now you see world over how many wars, Gulf wars, the lot of wars across different nations, Afghanistan, Libya, every nations were destroyed for the dollar hegemony, right? But
Correct.
see how Bitcoin has grown. Bitcoin has not created any war. This is the power of technology. How internet has grown. If you know, internet literally stopped Cold War. Just because of internet, Russia and America stopped fighting each other. That was the power of internet. Likewise, Bitcoin, which is the internet of money, will stop all the wars in terms of money. This is the point of view.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks. I think we'll move ahead. We have few more minutes. So
Sure.
we'll go ahead to the next question. So this is also, I think Praful will not take this question. You have already asked one question. It was really great. And so we'll move. Gokul, if you are open, then we can continue. I think the time is already up, but let's take this last question, or you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
other questions as well.
Actually,
So,
I would like to answer Prafulla's previous question. It's a good
okay, great.
question. I can,
Yeah. So, yeah.
yeah. So,
So,
Prafulla's question is, yes, Yash.
yeah, I will read it once. Okay. So, why fiat to why fiat to crypto trading is legally banned in selectively suppressed, indebted third world countries like Asia and Africa, whereas all major first world countries have open access for it with crypto ATM. It seems as a perfect conspiracy to block third world slave money to be new asset class as its nascent stage to nascent stage of valuation, and after few years, like 2 3 years, once valuation get to a mature level dump, then one third world by allowing them fiat crypto trading. What is your opinion? So
This is like very, very, very important question. Thank you, Prafulla, for asking this question. Yes. So it's a very deep question, right? So if you look at the fiat to crypto trading, right? So essentially, we can look at the the in the first version of cryptocurrencies, there is the fiat to crypto conversion. There is no rational benchmark, or there is no rational algorithm. There is no legitimacy, or I would say there is no consensus among the fiat to crypto conversion, right? So that was the reason, genuinely, that was the genuine reason why the governments were concerned about fiat to crypto trading. But whereas if you look at the first world countries, not only first world countries, the, I would say, advanced economies, like the economies where there is very uh, very uh, open open the liquidity, the I could say the if you look at countries like why my examples are the crypto ATMs, right? Crypto ATMs are very popular in countries like Russia, a lot of Eastern European countries, a lot of countries like Malta or Gibraltar, right? All these countries, crypto ATMs are very popular. And uh, the I would say advanced financial instruments are popular in those countries. So wherever there is good financial maturity or financial sophistication, they have embraced crypto, fiat to crypto trading. Singapore or Malta or Gibraltar, Russia, all these countries have embraced it. But what we have seen in countries like in countries like in Asia, especially special countries like India or highly controlled nations, regulated nations, they have really literally suppressed crypto ATMs and fiat to crypto trading. I would say this is because of the lack of maturity of financial markets. So if you see the evolution of fintech, financial technology, right? These countries, the countries in there are a lot of countries in Asia, including India, and a lot of countries in Africa, which are in a very primitive state. So that's the reason why advanced financial instruments, crypto instruments are not being popular there. If you see Thailand, now Thailand is one of the most advanced Asian countries embracing stable coins in Asia, right? Thailand and Indonesia and countries like Japan, they're all embracing stable coins. So I would say we have to see evolution of better maturity of financial instruments in these primitive countries like in Asia and Africa. Only then this crypto as a new asset class will evolve. Even in, if you see, there are we have to divide global economy into three different classes or categories when it comes to crypto adoption. One, crypto friendly and crypto mature. This is countries like Malta, uh, yeah, Malta, Singapore. These are crypto friendly and crypto mature. Crypto mature and crypto hostile. These are countries like China or United States. They are mature. They are ready for crypto adoption, but the governments and regulatory authorities are restricting crypto big time. That's where even uh, right the there is a lot of restrictions from the Exchange and Trading Commission in United States. Even though the individual states in United States are embracing crypto asset class, and financial organizations are all embracing it. So this is the second class: crypto mature but crypto hostile. The third level of countries are like India and the countries in Africa and some countries in Latin America. Crypto, they're crypto hostile and crypto immature. So this is how we have to look at this evolution. But what we have to understand is when they are facing a issue in their economy, if you see Venezuela, if you see Argentina, they have adopted they're supporting crypto to petrodollar conversion when in the case of, especially in the case of Venezuela and even recently Iran, they have opened up their economy to crypto. Iran has recently opened up their economy to crypto big time because they are facing a lot of sanctions from United States. Likewise, Venezuela is not getting much of support from international economies. So this could open up the gateway to crypto. So even though they are crypto immature, they become crypto friendly, and eventually they will become more crypto mature. So this is a very non-linear evolution of crypto technology, because crypto technology or cryptocurrency technology or cryptocurrency culture or crypto economics is highly non-linear. It is very much dependent on the relation between the national economy and the international economy, and it is also dependent on the maturity of their regulatory environment. If a country has a formidable mature regulatory infrastructure, they don't need to be worried about crypto adoption. And that's why a lot of advanced countries are embracing it. But in the case of United States and China, the dynamics is very different, because big countries are, their priorities are very different. The countries like Russia, China, United States, and United Kingdom, especially, and Germany. These countries, all the even though they are very advanced financial economies, since they are so big, they are taking time for crypto adoption because they have diverse opinions with them, right? So they can't reach a consensus faster. Smaller advanced countries like Singapore or other countries like Luxembourg, Singapore and Luxembourg, or Hong Kong, they are very advanced and they're small countries. They can move to crypto faster. So the geopolitics of cryptocurrencies is dependent on multiple factors. So I don't want to say that it is a conspiracy against third world, but it is because of the nature of decentralization, the way nature of decentralization evolved in a geopolitical dynamics. That's my opinion, Prafula. But you have brought a very deep question. I really appreciate and I really respect your point of view. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you answered really well,
Thank you.
Gokul. One last question. This has been, repeating a lot, which I love if you answer that question. So, as a non-techie or a person from non-tech background, how can they start their journey in blockchain as a, working in supply chain and various other industries, and from even from arts commerce background, so they want to get into this. So how they can start their journey? Like, can you just throw some light on this? Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question. You should. My opinion is technology should not be a deterrent. Technology should not be a deterrent for anybody to get into uh, blockchain, the world of blockchain, because blockchain is the future. Blockchain is the hope for future. And how can you start is by getting right perspective and right passion. And that's where you have to follow the masters sometimes, because uh, they will give you right perspective. I would suggest, if you are at the moment a non-technical person, you should start reading the books by Andreas Antonopolous. He has written two books, Internet of Money, Volume 1 and 2. This is a beautiful book to get right perspective, right amount of passion for the world of blockchain. Then I would recommend a book by Melanie Swan on blockchain, the blueprint for new economy. It will help you to dream about blockchain. First, you have to read the books by Andreas Antonopolous on blockchain, the book Internet of Money, Volume 1 and 2. That will give you the right perspective. I keep reading and rereading those books because it will help you to get deeper, your perspectives deeper. That book is non-technical. It's a very easy read, very passionate read. After reading the books by Andreas Antonopoulos, you should read the book by Melanie Swan, Blockchain Blueprint for New Economy, which will help you to dream about different possibilities of blockchain technology. Then I would recommend you to read the book by William Maguire on the business of blockchain. That's a very beautiful book, which will help you to understand different business cases, different business uh, possibilities of blockchain. Then, if you're still having patience and appetite for learning, you should read the book Blockchain Revolution by Don Tapscott and Alec Tapscott. These books, and there are a lot of good videos on blockchain technology adoption by Andreas Antonopoulos on YouTube. You should see them. And there is a series of good videos by William Maguire on blockchain. This will also help you to get in the right track of learning blockchain. After going through this, you should start reading blockchain case studies, implementation case studies published by different organizations like Forrester, Gartner, PwC, EY, Deloitte, etc. So as a non-technical person, this will get you a firm grounding on the blockchain revolution. And thereafter, if you are interested to play around with this technology, you can start installing blockchain protocols and play around with them. And then the journey will be open and infinite. That's my opinion. Yash.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gokul, for answering that question. And I think there are a lot of other questions also. For timing, if Gopul, you want to answer those questions, we can, keep it a open mic so that if anyone, after discuss this session, so for just few more minutes, like,
Yeah, sure.
so guys, you
Sure,
can,
sure.
if you have any query, you just first type it in the chat box. If Gokul, likes that question, you can answer. Otherwise, we'll move to the next question. So hurry up. Yeah. So,
Yeah, sure.
and
Let's,
one person also requested Gokul to, share the list of books and some references also for this.
yeah,
So we'll write I think it will be better that we write a blog post, like how to become one
absolutely.
blockchain developer, and for a non-technical
Yeah.
person, how to, and resources they'll need to, yeah.
I'll write let's write a blog post together, Yash.
Yeah,
And
definitely. We'll write
yeah,
one blog post on this one. So guys,
okay.
you can, if you have query, just write it in the chat box, because we are already running out of time. Uh, You can also unmute yourself and, in case.
Hi,
Yeah,
Alex.
hi.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Considering in India how the taxes are changing, like earlier we had only one tax, now we had central and state. How blockchain will be more effective in Indian market?
Okay. So when you look at the world of taxation, right? I would say the relationship between tax and a currency, right? So tax, if you look at tax in every economy is centralized. So the taxation, right? The implementation of taxation is centralized. So what we have to do is we have to get transactions on blockchain. Only when all major types of transactions come into blockchain, we can expect decentralization of tax. First, transactions, every kind of monetary transactions, every kind of transactions about real estate or any asset class, all the assets has to be decentralized. Once it is possible, then we can think about era when people can expect decentralization of tax, better transparency of tax, better even adherence of tax, wider tax coverage. All this is possible. First, we have to get all these payments, all the kind of transactions, cross-border payments, all of them in crypto. Government has to understand it. Once governments are able to understand the power of decentralization, how decentralization will help them to digitize transactions, then they will realize how blockchain could be a powerful mechanism for decentralization of tax. So there are some initiatives from the government side to bring in cross-border payments, cross-border transfer of goods, customs, and even government is uh, like thinking about international trade route implementation on blockchain. All these initiatives are in the nascent stage, but when our governments embrace this and when this becomes a reality, we can definitely dream about decentralization of taxation. That's a very interesting question. In fact, when you look at the world of crypto, I had spoken about this in a few forums. It's a very pertinent question when you look at the future of crypto economics.
The reason why I asked this question was like in my experience when we had one tax and all of a sudden when it was changed to we will have central and state as an ERP when we are using we had an issue. So that's where I want to understand how blockchain will take this thing in India, because if in a year if you see on of a sudden in the middle of the year they come and they say like now taxes has changed, so how the transaction will be taken care by blockchain?
Yeah. See, Saurav, right? Is this Saurav?
No, this is Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, Chandrasekhar. It's a very relevant point, but we can't move directly to decentralization of taxation unless the transactions and transaction metadata is in blockchain. First, we have to bring in, like, I would say, RBI and all the banks and all the financial institutions have to come together and bring their transaction systems into a blockchain infrastructure. Only then we can uh, apply tax related contracts, tax related rules, and tax governance of tax. See, technically, this is very much possible. Blockchain can govern taxation system. That's where the power of blockchain is. Even yesterday, I was talking about blockchain, power of blockchain for governance. right? It is technically very much possible, but the the first transaction systems, the different taxation related rules and tax implementations has to be digital, has to be phase-wise implementation. So, in fact, if you are interested, we can come up with a white paper on this. We can definitely propose this. We can definitely work together. If you are interested in this, please connect with Yash and myself. We can work on a concept note and definitely public domain. This is a very interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely we can
Hello, Yash.
out that. Yeah, definitely. Your voice was breaking a little bit from my end. I was not able to hear, but I got it. Like we can definitely work on this as well as a open source project. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a very, very relevant point, Yash. So if you can work on this decentralization of tax systems, I can take it to the right forums. It's a very good
definitely.
thought process.
So there are other questions also, Gokul, in the chat box.
Yeah. See, the next question I see is from Saurav Raj, which is about uh, stable coin for India, right? Is that the next question, Yash?
In the yeah, there are a lot of questions, so you can answer the best one. You can just go through
Yeah.
them all the questions once. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. There is a question from Saurav Raj on, for India, would a stablecoin approach work well? See, it will work for any advanced economy. What we really need is a good, uh, in India, if you look at the way in which the current monetary economics, how the government is controlling the repo rate and the reverse repo rate, the RBI, right? How RBI controls the repo rate and the reverse repo rate. If we have a mature uh, standard practice which RBI follows, and if you look at it, the ability for essentially stable coin is all about uh, controlling the monetary dynamics against a stable benchmark, stable asset or a stable benchmark. So in the case of India, right, if you look at Indian currency, Indian currency is, I would say, highly volatile because our Indian currency is very much dependent on foreign exchange reserves. And foreign exchange reserve in India is very dynamic, right? It changes quite rapidly based on, because our foreign institute, if you look at our foreign institute, the foreign exchange reserve is always the sum of foreign institutional investment and foreign direct investments. So our foreign institutional investments are quite less, and we have a lot of FDI. So FDI is more volatile than FII, foreign institutional investment. And our investments in government-backed foreign government bonds are also very less. So a stable coin with respect to Indian rupee would be a very difficult task. Whereas we should think about a stable coin with respect to some of the stable assets of India. Stable assets of India are some of the blue chip companies, the Maharatna companies like ONGC, or a lot of public sector backed companies, right? Public sector companies, they have a very stable financial position. Like SBI or SBI is now in the banking sector has a lot of problem because of non-performing assets. But when you look at other industry, other Indian assets, right? So our stable coin, if India is designing a stable coin, it has to be based on the stable assets of India. The stable, that's very important. So unless we have such a good asset collateralization framework, it's very difficult to do a stable coin for India. But this effort has to come from RBI. This effort has to come from the central government, and there should be a good consensus and good harmonization, good awareness and good agility in the from government essentially to have such an initiative. Hope I
And
answered the questions.
I think, yeah, you have answered the question well. And I think the another major problem will be internet penetration. So what if the internet is not working? So that is one of the biggest challenge right now. So even if we have a digital currency in China, the internet penetration is almost 99%. Like everyone is using internet. But
Yeah.
over here, still people they don't have access to internet. So that is the problem. Like which is one of the biggest problem if we are thinking about launching a stable digital currency.
That's right, Yash. I would suggest that we should look at satellite-based internet for India. For example, our satellite technology is very advanced. So if we use the in-as or Gagan satellite network, or if we partner with the GNSS is completely open source. We can think about. I've proposed this to various forums. Like if we use our India Post and Indian satellite infrastructure together, we can have a large scale offline internet infrastructure which can power the internet of money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think Gokul, we have already taken a lot of time from you. I think we should just and other queries. I think you guys can interact with him in LinkedIn also in case if you have a really good question, or you can directly ask me as well. I'll be open to answering those questions, and we'll definitely Gokul will should I think write one blog post on few of the good questions. We'll do that, and I think I'll just go in few minutes for what is Bitgenie Labs, and we'll end this session by thanking Gokul. Sounds great, Gokul?
Yeah, sure. I would like to write about if you can capture all these questions, Yash. So some of the pending questions, we can address them in the blog post.
Yeah, definitely. We can just note
Yeah.
save them somewhere, and then we can have a basically a
Yeah.
blog post on these questions. And
So
some of the
what I
questions were really great, and I'll post this recording on
very
YouTube. Yeah.
good quality questions. Yeah. It will be great, Yash. Please share this in YouTube. I will share with my network.
Yeah.
These are very, very good questions, and I really appreciate uh, you have mobilized such quality questions in such a short time. I really appreciate the effort from Yash and Ekta and the Bitgenie Labs. I really feel I've spent my weekend by talking to all of you and addressing these questions. I'm really grateful to Bitgenie Labs for this.
Thank you so much, Gokul. Yeah, it means a lot to us as well. And we really had a great session. Like your thought process and your understanding about technology and how it can be implemented and what are the challenges were really insightful. Like one of the best Sundays I ever had, and I think we can go on for the complete day this discussion.
Yeah.
And definitely whenever we catch up, even physically. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy the discussion with you. So
Yes, so I am also looking forward to more AMA sessions with Bitgenie Labs.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to come again. It will be my pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. So guys, thank you, Gokul. But I'll just give you for everyone who attended the session about Bitgenie Labs. So just 2 minutes. So Bitgenie Labs is started as an end-to-end ecosystem for emerging technologies. So the vision of the Bitgenie Lab is to bridge the gap between the industry and the university education. So today, even the students and professionals who are working, they don't get the opportunity to work on open source projects. So we want to create a ecosystem where students and professionals are working under the mentors on open source projects on emerging technology, so that we can build an ecosystem. We started this initiative. So please, I'll share the link of Telegram and WhatsApp group as well. You can just follow us on various social networks, and we'll understand the various. We conduct a lot of events also. And that's it about Bitgenie Labs. And thanks a lot, Gokul, again for the wonderful session. And guys, all your questions and queries, we'll try to write it in the blog post, and we'll upload this video on YouTube as well. So thanks a lot, and have a great weekend ahead. Gokul, thanks a lot. You too. Yeah.
Once again, thank you, Yash, Ekta, and Bitgenie Labs. I am also looking forward to work with you on this open source projects. We will also bring Algorand and Tezos Foundation into our ecosystem very soon.
Yeah,
looking forward.
definitely. Thanks a lot, Gokul, and have a great weekend ahead, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.